Alex had always loved his small house on the outer colony of Nova Terra. It was not large or fancy, but it was his. The walls were made from bright silver alloy that shimmered in the soft blue light of the planet's twin suns. Around his home stood tall crystal trees that glowed gently at night. To Alex, it was more than just a place to live. It was a symbol of hard work, patience, and freedom. He had spent years working as a colony engineer. Every piece of his home had been built with his own hands. His solar roof panels provided clean energy, and his water recycler kept the garden green. Even though Nova Terra was far from Earth, Alex had managed to make his small corner of the colony feel warm and alive. People respected him for his skills and kindness. He often helped his neighbors fix their systems or build small robots for their farms. Life had been peaceful until one strange morning. That morning, Alex stepped outside with his cup of steaming tea. The sky above shimmered with the faint trails of trading ships flying between the colony domes. He was about to check his solar regulator when he noticed a glowing red message box attached to his front gate. It bore the symbol of the Nova Terra Homeowners Association, the HOA. His heart sank. The HOA rarely sent personal messages unless something serious had happened. He picked up the message box and scanned his ID to open it. A holographic letter appeared in the air, projecting the official seal of the HOA. The message read, "You are hereby notified of violation 47B7. You have failed to comply with Colony Maintenance Code. You are ordered to vacate your property within 7 planetary days." Alex blinked in disbelief. Vacate his property? That could not be right. He had paid all his colony taxes and followed every rule he knew. There was no damage to his home, no unpaid bills, and no complaints from his neighbors. He read the message again, hoping it was a mistake, but the glowing red words stayed clear and cold. Before he could think further, his neighbor Mira came running across the walkway. She looked worried. She had received her own message earlier, warning her not to support Alex in any dispute with the HOA. That was strange, because Mira and Alex had never caused trouble. They both lived quietly, keeping their homes clean and following the colony rules. "I heard what happened," Mira said in a low voice. "Karen sent that notice, didn't she?" Alex frowned. He had heard that name before. Karen was the head of the HOA in their district. She was known for being strict, demanding, and fond of showing authority. Many colonists feared her because she could make life difficult with just one report. Some said she enjoyed catching people breaking small rules so she could fine them. Alex had met her once at a colony meeting, and she had seemed polite then, but distant. "I do not understand," Alex said. "My house meets every standard. My systems are safe. My records are clean," Mira nodded. "She has been targeting people lately. Last month she fined a man for growing non-approved flowers. She says it keeps the colony perfect. Maybe she is after you now because your house runs on your own energy instead of the HOA supply." That idea hit Alex hard. His solar energy system was fully self-sustaining. It made his home independent from the colony's main power grid. That was rare on Nova Terra, where most homes depended on central systems controlled by the HOA. Maybe his independence had made him stand out. Later that day, Alex walked to the central HOA office to clear things up. The office stood near the center of the colony dome, a tall glass building with glowing blue lines running up its sides. Inside, a young assistant guided him to the main desk where Karen sat. She was a tall woman with sharp eyes and a smile that did not reach her eyes. Her uniform was spotless, and every movement she made seemed calculated. "Ah, Mr. Alex," she said, looking up from her data tablet. "You received your notice, I see." "Yes," Alex replied calmly. "But there must be a mistake. My home follows every rule. Can you please tell me what violation 47B7 means?" Karen tilted her head slightly. "Your house has modifications not approved by the HOA. The energy systems you use are not registered under our control. That makes them unauthorized. According to the regulations, unauthorized systems are a direct violation." Alex kept his voice steady. "My systems are safe. They meet all technical standards. I even shared my data with the colony engineers 2 months ago." Karen tapped her screen. "Maybe so, but they were not approved by the HOA board. Therefore, they are illegal under our community code. You have 7 days to remove them or vacate your property." Alex could feel frustration rising, but he took a slow breath. "I built that home myself. I have lived there for 6 years without any problem. You cannot take it away just because I use my own energy source." Karen gave a cold smile. We maintain order here, Mr. Alex. Rules are rules. If everyone did what they wanted, this colony would fall into chaos. You may appeal if you wish, but the court rarely overturns HOA rulings. With that, she dismissed him and returned to her tablet. Alex left the building with a heavy heart. The bright streets of the colony now seemed less friendly. He could not understand why someone like Karen would try to ruin the peace he had built. But deep inside, he knew he would not give up easily. That evening, Alex sat in his workshop surrounded by his tools and inventions. The walls were lined with softly glowing panels that displayed his past projects. He looked at the small garden outside his window, where the crystal trees swayed under the gentle wind. This was his home, his world. He would not let anyone take it away without a fight. He opened his data terminal and began reviewing every rule in the HOA manual. Line by line, he searched for any clue, any mistake in the notice Karen had sent. Hours passed and the twin moons rose outside, casting a calm silver light over his desk. Finally, he found something. Rule 47B7 mentioned unauthorized systems, but there was a hidden section under an older version of the law. It said that any system providing self-sufficient energy could be registered under independent use if it did not harm the colony grid. Karen had ignored that part completely. Alex leaned back and smiled slightly. Maybe she did not expect anyone to read the old regulations. Maybe she thought everyone would just obey without question. But he was not like everyone else. He decided to prepare his appeal with solid proof. Over the next few days, Alex gathered every piece of evidence he could. He scanned his power data logs, showing how his systems used less energy and caused no interference with the colony grid. He collected testimonials from neighbors like Mira, who spoke of how his inventions had helped them. He even recorded a short video showing his garden lights powered safely through his solar panels. His workshop buzzed with quiet determination. Word began to spread around the colony. Some people whispered that Alex was brave. Others warned that Karen would make an example of him. But Alex stayed calm. He believed that truth was stronger than authority when backed by facts and honesty. On the 6th day, he received a new message. The Colony Council had accepted his appeal. A court hearing would be held the next morning at the Central Hall. The message ended with the name of the presiding judge, Solon, an AI-human hybrid known for strict but fair decisions. Alex felt a spark of hope. He looked around his home one more time. The silver walls glowed softly in the night. Everything he had built stood as proof of his hard work and vision. He placed his hand on the wall and whispered to himself, "This is my home. I will protect it." Outside, the twin moons shone brightly over Nova Terra. Somewhere in the distance, Karen sat in her office, already planning her next move. But Alex was ready. The real battle for his home was about to begin. The next morning, the first light of the twin suns touched the metal walls of Alex's home. He had barely slept through the night. His mind had been full of thoughts, plans, and calculations. The day of the hearing was near and every second mattered. He had to prepare a defense strong enough to stand against Karen and the powerful HOA board behind her. Alex sat at his desk surrounded by data tablets and paper files. He had already collected energy reports, maintenance records, and technical approvals from the colony engineers. Now he needed to organize them into clear sections that would make sense in the courtroom. The council judges, especially an AI hybrid like Judge Solon, would value logic and precision more than emotion. Mira came by early to check on him. She carried a tray of breakfast from the colony cafeteria. "You need to eat," she said kindly. "You will need your strength," Alex smiled weakly. "Thank you, Mira. I have been reading these reports all night. Karen will not make this easy." Mira placed the tray on the table and sat beside him. "You are doing the right thing. Everyone knows how fair you have been. The colony needs people like you. Maybe this will finally show the council that the HOA is abusing its power." Alex nodded. "I hope so. I only want justice. If they can take my home today, they can take anyone's tomorrow." Outside, a few colony workers passed by and waved at him. The news of his case had spread quickly. Some residents even offered written statements supporting him. They respected Alex not only for his inventions, but for his kindness toward the community. He had repaired broken lights, designed clean water filters, and even helped the local school build a small weather station. But Karen had her own allies. Many feared her influence. She often reminded people that the HOA had control over colony privileges such as trade licenses, transport permissions, and housing upgrades. Few dared to oppose her directly. Alex knew this well, which made his fight even harder. Later that day, Alex visited the colony library, a massive dome filled with glowing information panels. He searched through archived laws, scanning old records and council rulings. The deeper he looked, the more he realized how often Karen had bent the rules. There were small cases that had quietly disappeared or were settled without proper hearings. Some citizens had lost their property under vague charges similar to his. He saved copies of these documents and returned home with a growing sense of purpose. The colony system was not evil by design, but people like Karen had learned how to twist it for personal control. Alex believed that truth could still win if presented properly. That evening, he organized a small meeting at his home. Mira came again, joined by 2 other neighbors, Rana and Tom. They all brought their own experiences with the HOA. Rana had once been fined for painting her door in the wrong shade of blue. Tom had received a warning for keeping his drone outside after curfew hours. Each of them shared their frustration and fear. "We cannot keep living like this," Rana said. "One mistake and they threaten to remove us. It feels like we are living under constant watch." Alex listened carefully. "That is why this hearing matters. If I can prove that Karen misused her power, it will set an example. We must show the council that the HOA's control has gone too far." Tom nodded. "We will stand by you. We will tell the truth if they ask us." Alex felt a wave of gratitude. For the first time in days, he did not feel alone. Together, they went over his evidence, rehearsed statements, and planned how to present everything clearly. Alex also prepared digital displays of his energy systems, ready to show that they were not harmful but helpful. When the others left, Alex sat alone, watching the stars through his window. The planet's night sky was alive with moving lights from distant trade ships and satellites. Somewhere among them, Earth still shone as a small blue point, far away but never forgotten. Alex wondered what the early settlers would think of this colony now. They had come here for freedom and opportunity, yet control and greed had followed them even across the stars. The next morning, Alex received another message. It was from the HOA office. The message stated that Karen had filed additional charges against him. According to her, Alex had failed to pay an environmental adjustment fee for his solar system. He opened his payment records and confirmed that the fee did not even exist in the colony's official financial database. She was inventing new rules to pressure him. Instead of panic, Alex felt calm. This new false charge would only strengthen his defense if handled properly. He added it to his growing list of Karen's manipulations. Later, as he walked to the colony council building, people greeted him with quiet support. Some gave small nods, others whispered good luck. Even those who feared Karen admired Alex's courage. At the council plaza, he met an old friend named Darren, a colony technician who had worked with him on energy projects years ago. Darren had heard about the case and came to offer help. "I checked the HOA database," Darren whispered. "Karen has been changing records. She deleted some of your previous approvals, but I recovered one backup file that proves your system was registered for testing 2 years ago. That means it was never unauthorized." Alex's eyes brightened. "That is perfect. Can you provide a certified copy?" Darren nodded. "Already done. The file is signed with the colony engineer's seal. No one can deny it." Alex thanked him sincerely. This document was a key piece of evidence. It would show that Karen not only misread the law, but actively altered records. That was a serious offense. The day before the hearing, Karen visited his property in person. Her vehicle landed smoothly on the walkway, and she stepped out with 2 HOA officers. Her sharp eyes scanned his house like a machine searching for flaws. "Mr. Alex," she said in her usual cold tone, "I see you are preparing for your hearing. I must warn you that misleading the council can have severe consequences." Alex faced her calmly. "I have no reason to mislead anyone. The evidence will speak for itself." Karen gave a faint smirk. "We shall see. The HOA exists for order and safety. Your little rebellion only threatens harmony." "My independence is not rebellion," Alex replied firmly. "It is progress. The colony should grow through innovation, not fear." Her expression hardened. "We will let the judge decide." She turned and left, her officers following closely. Alex watched her ship rise into the air and disappear into the glowing skyline. He felt both nervous and determined. That night, he packed his files into a secure case. His workshop was silent except for the soft hum of machines. He double-checked each report and backup record. Every cable, every light in his home seemed to remind him of what he was fighting for. He sat at his desk and activated a small hologram of his home design. The floating image showed each system working together like a living organism. It was beautiful in its simplicity and efficiency. He remembered the long nights of building, the early failures, and the moment it all finally worked. Mira sent him a short message wishing him good luck. "The whole block stands with you," she wrote. "No matter what happens, you have already inspired everyone." Alex smiled. He replied, "Thank you. Tomorrow truth will speak." When dawn came, he put on his clean colony uniform and stepped outside. The air was cool and the suns were rising behind the hills, painting the horizon gold and blue. His heart pounded as he locked his door. He whispered quietly, "I will be back." The colony transport took him to the council district where the grand hall towered above all other buildings. The structure was made of transparent crystal panels that reflected sunlight like a rainbow. Inside, hundreds of citizens gathered quietly waiting for the hearing. Some came out of curiosity, others out of silent protest. Alex walked through the hall, feeling the weight of countless eyes. Karen was already there, standing near her group of officers. She looked confident, as if victory was certain. The judge's platform floated above the center of the hall. It was sleek and silver, and the figure of Judge Solon stood upon it. His presence commanded silence. Half human, half machine, his eyes glowed faintly blue as he reviewed data from a hovering screen. His voice, calm and powerful, filled the chamber. "Today we address the case of property dispute number 906A. The plaintiff, Karen of the Novaterra HOA, versus the defendant, Alex of Dome District 7. Both sides will present their arguments before this council." Alex took his place at the defense podium. His heart beat fast, but his mind was clear. Karen stepped forward to present her case. She spoke with practiced confidence, accusing Alex of violating colony laws, creating unsafe systems, and ignoring HOA authority. Alex listened carefully, making notes. When she finished, he stepped forward. His voice was steady. "Your Honor, members of the council, I will prove that my home system is safe, legal, and beneficial to the colony. I will also show that the charges against me were built on false claims and altered records." Judge Solon looked at him with interest. "Proceed, Mr. Alex. The council values truth above all." Alex connected his tablet to the projection system, and glowing blue data filled the air. Charts, documents, and test results appeared one after another. The audience leaned forward. The battle for his home had truly begun. The great hall of the Colony Council was silent. Every seat was filled with people waiting to witness what many called the most important case in years. The air shimmered with tension as the holographic screens around the room displayed the names of both sides. On one side stood Karen, tall and confident in her dark uniform, representing the HOA. On the other stood Alex, calm but alert, wearing his plain engineer's jacket and holding a small data tablet that contained his entire defense. Judge Solon stood on the raised platform at the center. His eyes glowed a faint blue, scanning through the digital files before him. His voice was calm and balanced, carrying authority that made everyone listen. "Both sides will have the chance to speak and present evidence. The purpose of this court is truth and fairness. We begin with the plaintiff." Karen nodded and stepped forward. Her tone was sharp, her words measured. "Your Honor, members of the Colony Council, the HOA exists to ensure order and safety. We cannot allow individual colonists to modify or control systems that affect the collective infrastructure. Mr. Alex has built and operated unregistered energy systems. These systems are unauthorized, potentially unstable, and outside the supervision of the HOA. This violation is clear under Code 47B7. We therefore request that his property be reclaimed for the protection of all residents." She paused to look at the crowd, then continued with a confident smile. "In addition, Mr. Alex has refused to cooperate with repeated inspections and has disrupted the standard colony procedures. His independence is not innovation. It is defiance against structure and harmony." Judge Solon nodded once. "The defendant may now respond." Alex took a deep breath and stepped forward. His voice was calm and clear. "Your Honor, I have always respected colony law. My systems are safe and efficient. They are designed to reduce pressure on the main power grid, not to harm it. I did not violate Code 47B7 because my systems qualify as self-sufficient and non-interfering. The old version of this law allows independent registration of safe systems, and I have all the data to prove that mine meets those standards. He tapped his tablet, and a holographic display appeared above him. Blue light filled the air, showing his home in full three-dimensional form. The systems glowed with labeled parts, each connected by thin lines of energy. He pointed to the solar collectors, the storage cells, and the clean water recyclers. All of these have passed inspection by the colony engineers. Here are the reports. On the screen appeared official documents signed with the colony seal. The crowd murmured as the judge leaned forward slightly. Karen frowned but remained silent. Alex continued. I have also gathered data from the past 2 years. My home draws no power from the main grid. It reduces colony energy usage by 12% and carbon waste by 9%. These results were shared with the colony research team before the HOA began this case. He changed the display to show graphs of energy output and stability. The lines were smooth and steady, showing perfect function. There has never been a failure or hazard. My neighbors can confirm this. At that moment, Mira and 2 other residents stood from the audience. They raised their hands and asked permission to speak. The judge nodded. Mira stepped forward first. Your Honor, I live next to Alex. His systems never caused harm. In fact, he helped us fix our own recyclers. His work improved the safety of the entire block. The judge listened closely. Another neighbor, Tom, added. He even built lighting for the street using his own panels. It made our nights safer. No one else in the district has done so much for the community. Karen crossed her arms, clearly annoyed. With respect, Your Honor, this is irrelevant. The issue is legality, not popularity. Judge Solon looked at her. It is relevant if it concerns the safety and contribution to the colony. Please allow the witnesses to continue. Karen clenched her jaw but remained silent. After the witnesses returned to their seats, Alex continued his presentation. There is more, Your Honor. I discovered that my registration file was deleted from the HOA system. But my colleague Darren, a certified colony technician, recovered the backup. Here it is. He opened a new file, and a glowing document appeared in the air, signed and stamped with the colony engineer's seal. The crowd gasped softly. The judge examined it closely. This document shows that your system was approved for testing and evaluation 2 years ago. That means it was registered. Karen looked uneasy. Your Honor, that file may be fabricated. The HOA has no record of it. Darren, sitting in the audience, stood up and raised his identification badge. Your Honor, I created that file myself as part of the engineering review team. I can verify its authenticity. Judge Solon turned to Karen. Is there a reason why this file does not exist in your records? Karen hesitated, then replied, There may have been an error during data migration. The judge's blue eyes glowed brighter. An error or an alteration? Karen shifted uncomfortably. The crowd began whispering. Alex could see that her confidence was beginning to crack. He spoke again, his voice calm and steady. Your Honor, the HOA is supposed to protect the colony, not control it for power. Karen used her authority to threaten and silence residents. Many here have suffered from unnecessary fines and false charges. This is not about safety. It is about control. Karen's face turned red. That is an insult, Your Honor. The HOA acts only in the best interest of the colony. Alex replied. Then let the truth decide. The judge nodded. Continue, Mr. Alex. Alex showed a short video recorded by Mira's drone. It displayed Karen visiting his home with officers before the hearing. Her words were clear. Your little rebellion only threatens harmony. The hall fell completely silent. Karen's expression froze. The judge replayed the video once more. So this was said before the hearing? Yes, Your Honor, Alex replied. She came to intimidate me. Karen quickly said, That video was taken without permission. It should not be admissible. The judge looked at her calmly. The colony law allows recordings in open spaces. This was outside the defendant's home. The evidence stands. Karen had no answer. Her confident posture began to fade. Alex stepped forward for his final words. Your Honor, I built my home to serve, not to defy. I wanted to show that we can be independent and still help the colony grow. If that is considered rebellion, then we are punishing progress. I asked the council not only to clear my name, but to review how the HOA uses its power. The judge remained silent for a long moment. The blue lights around the hall pulsed softly as he processed the data. Finally, he said, "Both sides will rest their arguments. The council will take a short recess. We will reconvene in 1 hour." As the judge left the platform, the audience broke into quiet discussion. People surrounded Alex, patting his shoulder and whispering encouragement. Mira hugged him and said, "You did it." Everyone saw the truth. Alex smiled but stayed cautious. It is not over yet. The decision will come soon. Across the hall, Karen stood with 2 of her officers whispering angrily. She glanced toward Alex several times, her expression dark. He could tell she was already planning something. When the break ended, the judge returned to the platform. The room went silent again. "Before I give my decision, I have one more question for the plaintiff," Judge Solon said. "Ms. Karen, as head of the HOA, do you confirm that you deleted or modified no files related to this case?" Karen hesitated. "I confirm." The judge's eyes glowed bright blue as he accessed the colony's data archives directly through his system link. The air filled with shifting symbols and lines of light. "Accessing restricted logs," he said calmly. The crowd watched as the holographic screen showed system entries. One line blinked red. It read, "File 906A Energy System Approval deleted by user ID Karen HOA." Gasps filled the hall. Karen stepped back, her face pale. "That is not possible. Someone tampered with it." Judge Solon's tone became firm. "The system records every command with time and identity. This shows clear manipulation of evidence." Karen tried to speak, but no words came. The judge turned to the council members seated behind him. They whispered among themselves, then nodded in agreement. Solon faced the room again. "The council has seen enough. The actions of the HOA representative were not only unfair, but also dishonest. Mr. Alex's systems are safe, legal, and beneficial to the colony. This court declares all charges against him dismissed." The crowd erupted into applause. Karen stood frozen, unable to speak as her officers looked down in shame. Alex felt a rush of relief and gratitude. Mira and the others smiled proudly, tears shining in their eyes. Judge Solon raised his hand for silence. "Furthermore, the council will conduct an audit of the HOA's operations and leadership. Abuse of power has no place in this colony. Justice must serve the people, not authority." The hall filled with cheers once again. Karen turned and walked out quickly, avoiding every gaze. Her authority had collapsed in a single moment. Alex bowed respectfully to the judge. "Thank you, Your Honor." Solon's glowing eyes dimmed slightly, showing a rare expression of warmth. "Do not thank me. Thank the truth. You have reminded us that honesty and courage keep our society alive." Alex nodded. The judge left the platform and the crowd surrounded him with applause. The once silent hall was now alive with voices of hope. As Alex stepped outside into the bright sunlight, the colony felt different. The air seemed lighter, the people freer. The colony of Novaterra was usually calm and quiet, but after the hearing, the whole place was buzzing with talk. Everywhere people went, they spoke about Alex in the courtroom. In the markets, on the walkways, and even in the schools, citizens repeated what the judge had said. For the first time in many years, the people of the colony had seen someone stand up to the HOA and win. Alex became a symbol of courage almost overnight. He did not ask for fame, but people came to thank him. The neighbors decorated his street with glowing banners that read, "Truth wins and freedom for the colony." Even those who had been afraid of Karen's authority felt hope rising again. Yet, not everyone was happy. Inside the tall glass office of the HOA building, Karen sat alone. The room that once felt like her throne now seemed cold and empty. Her desk was covered with reports and council messages demanding explanations. She had lost her power in front of the whole colony. The audit team from the council was already reviewing every HOA record. Karen stared at the glowing reports on her screen. Each one reminded her of her failure. Her pride burned with anger. She muttered quietly, "This is not over." She could not accept that Alex, a simple engineer, had exposed her in front of everyone. Her authority had been questioned. Her name whispered with blame. She had built her control over years of fear and strict rules. Now it was slipping away. She needed a way to get it back. That evening, while Alex repaired one of his solar cells, his communicator beeped. It was a message from Judge Solon's assistant. The judge wanted to meet him the next morning at the council headquarters for a follow-up session. It was described as a community progress meeting, to discuss reforms to the HOA system. Alex felt both nervous and proud. He had not expected to be called again, but if he could help improve the system, he was ready. Mira, standing nearby, smiled at him. You deserve it. Maybe now the council will make real changes. The next morning, Alex dressed neatly and made his way to the council dome. The twin suns were rising, spreading golden light across the colony streets. People waved to him as he passed. Some handed him small gifts of thanks, such as fresh fruit and handmade crafts. When he entered the council dome, the security guards greeted him politely. Inside, Judge Solon stood near the center table with several other council members. The room was filled with blue light from the transparent walls. Solon gave a respectful nod. Mr. Alex, thank you for coming. We are grateful for your patience and courage. We have begun reviewing the HOA's activities, and your case has opened many doors. Alex bowed slightly. I am honored to help, Your Honor. One of the council members, a woman named Lyra, spoke. We want to design a new colony charter that protects citizens from unfair treatment. You understand the people's problems better than anyone. Would you be willing to assist in forming the plan? Alex was surprised. Me? I am just an engineer. Judge Solon smiled faintly. Sometimes those who work with their hands understand justice better than those who write it. Your voice matters, Alex agreed. They began discussing ideas for new rules. He suggested transparent reviews for every HOA decision, open access to public records, and clear approval steps for independent projects. The council listened carefully and took notes. It felt like the start of a new chapter for Novaterra. However, outside the dome, Karen was not done. She had used her access to old systems before the audit team removed her privileges. Now she was planning something desperate. Hidden deep within the HOA's private servers was an emergency override command designed to shut down unregistered power sources across the colony. It was originally built for safety during major disasters, but Karen intended to use it to cause chaos. If she activated it, many of the colony's systems would go offline temporarily. She wanted people to believe that independent systems like Alex's were to blame. Late at night, she sneaked into the building's restricted control room using her personal access chip. The dark room hummed with the sound of machines. The glowing command panel displayed lines of code and maps of the colony's power grid. Her eyes were cold as she entered the command code. Let them see what happens without my control, she whispered to herself. As she pressed the final key, the system began a countdown. Across the colony, lights flickered. Machines paused. A warning siren echoed faintly through the streets. The people looked around in confusion as power faded in several districts. Alex was still at the council dome when the lights dimmed. The emergency light switched on, casting a red glow over the room. Judge Solon's eyes glowed brighter as he connected directly to the colony's network. There has been a forced override, he said calmly. Source traced to HOA central control. Alex's heart raced. Karen, she is trying to blame me. Solon nodded. That is the most likely reason. Within seconds, Solon transmitted a signal through the council's security system. Lockdown authorization granted, he said. Guards across the colony received the command. At the HOA building, alarms began to sound. Karen looked up in shock. Her access chip suddenly deactivated, locking her out of the control panel. She tried to override it, but the system refused every command. Judge Solon's voice echoed through the communication speakers. Karen, this is Judge Solon. You are ordered to cease all actions immediately. The council has evidence of your tampering. Karen's hands shook. You cannot take this from me. I built this order. Without me, this colony will collapse. The judge's calm voice replied, The colony will stand without fear and corruption. Surrender peacefully. Karen looked around the dark room, realizing she was trapped. Guards entered through the main door. She dropped her access chip, knowing there was no escape. Meanwhile, back at the council dome, Solon's systems worked to stabilize the power grid. Alex quickly offered his help. Your Honor, my home system can share its stored energy with the colony grid for a short time. It will help restore power until the main systems recover. The judge nodded. Do it. Connect through the emergency link. Alex used his tablet to access his home's control hub remotely. His solar batteries and recyclers came online instantly. Energy began to flow from his home into the colony grid. Within minutes, lights brightened across several sectors. The siren stopped. People cheered as their machines started running again. Solon turned to Alex. You have just saved the colony, Mr. Alex. Alex smiled humbly. I only did what anyone would do. We must take care of each other. When the crisis ended, Karen was brought to the council dome under guard. Her uniform was wrinkled and her face looked tired. The same hall where she had once spoken with confidence was now silent as she faced the council again. The people who had gathered outside looked through the glass walls, watching. Judge Solon stood tall, his glowing eyes calm but firm.
Karen, you have violated the trust given to you by this colony.
You attempted to harm public systems to regain control. Do you have anything to say before the council declares judgment? Karen tried to defend herself. I did it for order. People cannot manage themselves without control. They need leaders who enforce discipline. Solon shook his head. True leadership protects people, not frightens them. You mistook power for guidance. The council voted unanimously to remove her from all authority positions. She would be sent to work in the colony's maintenance division for rehabilitation, far from any political role. It was a fair punishment that allowed her to reflect and learn. When the hearing ended, the crowd outside cheered again. They shouted Alex's name, and even the guards smiled. For the first time, the colony felt united. Later that evening, as the suns began to set, Alex returned home. His house stood quietly at the edge of the district, its walls glowing softly in the fading light. Mira and several neighbors waited for him at the gate. They clapped and welcomed him back warmly. You saved the colony again, Mira said proudly. Even the council could not have done it without you. Alex laughed gently. It was not just me. Everyone helped. Even the judge. It was a team effort. The neighbors insisted on celebrating. They brought food, music, and small lanterns. Soon the street was full of laughter. The crystal trees around his home glowed beautifully as children played near the garden. It was the happiest moment the colony had seen in a long time. Judge Solon even sent a message of appreciation. It read, "The colony thanks you for your wisdom and courage. The council has decided to form a new department for innovation and independent systems. We invite you to lead it." Alex was surprised and deeply moved. He accepted the offer humbly, promising to help shape a fair and open future for all residents. As the night grew quiet, he stood outside looking at the stars. The colony lights shimmered below, bright and alive once more. He thought about how far things had come from the day he received that eviction notice to this moment of peace. Mira joined him and smiled. You changed everything, Alex. He shook his head softly. No, we changed everything. When people stand for what is right, even one small voice can start a new beginning. The stars reflected in his eyes as the colony rested peacefully around him. For the first time, Nova Terra felt truly free. Morning light spread across Nova Terra, shining softly over the silver rooftops and green gardens of the colony. The air was calm after many weeks of tension. The people were slowly returning to their normal lives, but something inside the colony had changed forever. The days of fear under Karen's strict rule were gone. The people now spoke freely about new ideas, community projects, and inventions. The colony felt alive again. For the first time in years, laughter and music could be heard in the central square. Alex woke early as usual. His home system was running perfectly, feeding energy back into the main grid. He looked out from his window and saw children playing outside, using small hoverboards powered by clean energy he had designed. It made him smile. Mira was already in the garden, checking on the plants that Alex had genetically modified to grow faster in the colony's thin atmosphere. She turned and waved. The council sent a message, she said. They want you to come to the dome for your first day as the head of the innovation department. Alex nodded. It feels strange. A few weeks ago, I was just an engineer fighting to keep my home. Now I am supposed to help lead the colony. Mira smiled. You earned it. You stood for truth when others were silent. That is real leadership. After breakfast, Alex put on a simple gray uniform. It had the new emblem of the innovation department on the sleeve, a rising sun above a circuit line. He packed his tablet and left for the council dome. As he walked through the streets, people greeted him warmly. Vendors offered him fruits for free. A group of children saluted him playfully, calling him Engineer Alex the Brave. He laughed and waved back. The colony that once watched him with silence now looked at him with respect. When he reached the dome, Judge Solon was waiting at the entrance. The judge's metallic eyes glowed softly as he smiled. Good morning, Mr. Alex. I am glad you accepted the council's offer. The colony needs minds like yours. Alex bowed politely. Thank you, Your Honor. I will do my best. They entered the meeting hall together. It was filled with new faces, young engineers, scientists, and citizens who had volunteered to join the department. The energy in the room was full of hope and purpose. Judge Solon spoke first. Today marks a new beginning for Novaterra. The Innovation Department will ensure that technology serves every citizen equally. We will no longer allow power to be misused. Mr. Alex, as head of this department, you have full authority to develop systems that improve life for all. Alex stepped forward. Thank you. We will build together. No more hidden rules, no more control through fear. Every idea will be shared openly. Let us show that unity and honesty can make this colony stronger than ever. The hall filled with applause. After the meeting, Alex toured the research area. The lab was full of creative designs, floating garden pods, water recycling drones, and small robots that could repair streets. He listened to every inventor with patience and interest, offering advice and encouragement. He never acted like a superior. Instead, he worked side by side with others. By the end of the day, he had already approved several projects that would help ordinary citizens. One design used low-cost solar tiles that could be placed on any home to reduce energy bills. Another was a simple communication device that allowed even remote farmers to connect to the main network without paying fees. The news spread quickly. Within a week, volunteers from across the colony joined the movement. The Innovation Department became a symbol of hope and fairness. Meanwhile, Karen had begun her rehabilitation work. The council assigned her to the maintenance division in the colony's outer district. She spent her days repairing broken machines and helping clean water systems. At first she was bitter and silent, but as weeks passed, she saw how ordinary people worked hard with dignity. They did not fear her. They simply focused on their duties and helped one another. One evening, as she sat beside the recycling unit, an old technician handed her a water bottle. "You did wrong, but you can learn. The colony gives second chances," he said kindly. For the first time, Karen felt true humility. She realized how far she had fallen because of pride. She decided to complete her rehabilitation sincerely. Back in the main district, Alex's work continued to grow. The colony now held weekly open meetings where citizens could suggest improvements. Judge Solon often joined to observe. The people spoke with excitement about education, farming, and transportation. Alex listened carefully, taking notes and turning ideas into projects. One evening, after a long meeting, Solon invited Alex to his office. The judge poured a cup of tea and said, "You have done more in a month than the council did in years. The people are inspired by you. Tell me, Alex, what drives you?" Alex smiled humbly. "When Karen tried to evict me, I felt powerless. But I learned that real power belongs to those who build, not those who control. I just want everyone to have a fair chance to live and dream." Solon nodded slowly. "You remind me why justice matters. Power without compassion destroys communities, but courage like yours rebuilds them." As weeks turned into months, Novaterra transformed. Streets became cleaner, power was stable, and no one went hungry. The colony exported new technologies to nearby settlements, earning trade agreements and friendship. People from other colonies came to learn how Novaterra achieved such harmony. Alex became a respected name across the planetary network, but he never let fame change him. He still walked among the people, repaired machines himself, and listened to every worker. One afternoon, the council organized a grand ceremony to honor his achievements. The central square was decorated with banners and flowers. Thousands of citizens gathered. The twin suns shone brightly as Judge Solon took the stage. He raised his hand for silence and began to speak. "Citizens of Novaterra, today we celebrate not just one man but the spirit of unity. When injustice threatened our peace, Alex stood firm. He did not fight with anger but with truth. He reminded us that progress begins when people believe in fairness. His inventions saved us more than once, but his greatest creation was hope." The crowd cheered loudly. Solon turned toward Alex and said, "On behalf of the council and the people, I present you with the honor of the Suns, our highest award." Alex stepped forward. Solon placed the shining medal on his chest. The judge smiled warmly and said, "Your courage was priceless, Alex. Even a judge like me learned something from you. You showed that real justice is not written in laws but lived in actions." The people clapped and shouted his name. Mira watched proudly from the front row. She felt tears in her eyes as she saw how far he had come. After the ceremony, Alex walked through the crowd, shaking hands and thanking everyone. A small boy ran up and said, "I want to be an inventor like you when I grow up." Alex knelt and replied kindly, "Then start dreaming now. The future belongs to those who dream and work hard." That night, after the celebrations ended, Alex stood again in his garden. The stars were bright above the colony dome. Mira joined him and placed her hand on his shoulder. "You did it," she said softly. "The colony is free and everyone has hope again." Alex looked up at the sky. "We all did it together. No one should live in fear. When people trust each other, they can build anything." Mira smiled. "Even the judge admires you now. Did you see his reaction when he spoke about you?" Alex laughed lightly. "Yes, it surprised me. I never thought a judge would call me a teacher." They both stood quietly for a moment, listening to the distant sounds of laughter and music. The colony was alive, peaceful, and full of light. Somewhere across the colony, Karen finished her shift and looked up at the same stars. She whispered to herself, he was right. Truth always wins. The story of Alex became a lesson told to every child on Nova Terra. Teachers spoke of how one person's honesty could change the fate of an entire colony. The HOA system was replaced with a fair community council, where every citizen had a voice. Years later, as Nova Terra continued to grow, people still remembered the day the judge's reaction became a symbol of hope. His priceless words echoed through history. Justice is not power. Justice is balance, guided by truth and courage. Alex continued to serve the colony for many years. He designed new systems, helped establish new settlements, and ensured that freedom and fairness remained the heart of Nova Terra. When he finally looked upon the colony from the hill near his home, he felt peace in his heart. He had not only defended his house, but had built a future where everyone could belong. The twin suns set behind the mountains, and the colony lights sparkled like stars on the ground. Nova Terra had found its light again, thanks to one man's courage to stand for what was right, and so, the story of Alex and the priceless reaction of the judge became a legend that inspired generations to come.